Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. One of my special pleasures in doing this vlog is the occasional chance that I get to share an insight that I had or a thought that perhaps other people have had the same thought, but they haven't expressed it, or at least I haven't read or heard it or seen it expressed anywhere. It has to do with immigration. We have all these unlawful aliens coming into the country, and Biden and his ilk, just our liberal friends, falling all over themselves, doing everything they can, finding more and more places, military bases, wherever they can find to put all these people, and pulling people off of other jobs. The Border Patrol, especially, they're not patrolling the borders, or not as much as they were, because they have to devote a lot of their time to just taking care of all of these unlawful aliens, calling on volunteers from some other agency to come and volunteer their time at the border to take care of all these kids. Which leads to my thought that I had, which is, does anybody remember Elián González? Remember his mother fleeing Cuba with little, he was a toddler at the time, Elián González, fleeing the country. His mother died, drowned on the way over across the ocean to get to the United States. Elián González managed to survive. He was with his grandparents, so he had somebody to take care of him. And Bill Clinton and his Attorney General at the time, Janet Reno, they sent, well, here's the photo you can see, sent these, they're almost like a SWAT team. You can see the helmets, and they have the talk about banning assault weapons. Those assault weapons, a little aside here, those are just ordinary semi-automatic rifles that just have a military cosmetic appearance. But those officers in that photo, those are real assault weapons. Those are real, I am sure, I mean, I don't know, but if law enforcement has them, I'm sure that those weapons are fully automatic. So they sent these people in helmets, and you see how scared out of his wits the kid is, but you can see the lengths to which the Democrats went to get one child and send that one child back to Cuba, even though he had his grandparents there, and his mother, that was his mother's wish for sure. That's why she was coming with him in the first place, that Elián González grow up in the United States. And again, we saw, if you were old enough, you saw what the Clinton administration and Janet Reno did, the effort they expended to get this one kid back to Cuba against the kid's will, obviously, but it's a minor, so the kid can't make his own decision anyhow. But again, I keep emphasizing this point. You saw the effort that the Democrats expended to forcibly send this kid back to Cuba, from which his mother had fled and sacrificed her own life to get her child to the United States. So you see what they did, and now let's contrast that with what is happening now. Last time I checked, 18,000 kids that our Democratic friends invited. That's what they did. That's literally what Joe Biden did, invited them to come into the country. So why, on the one hand, all this effort to send one kid back to Cuba, and on the other hand, to bring into the country and keep 18,000 other children? Well, the question almost answers itself. Those kids were not from Cuba. Elián González was, or his mother was, taking him out of a communist country, and of course our Democratic friends, a lot of them are socialist communists, and they did not want this kid to be taken from Cuba. They wanted the kid sent back to Cuba. But these other 18,000 kids, they are not coming from a communist country. So that's one reason, I think, for the difference in treatment of Elián González and these 18,000 children. But I also see a second reason, and that is, as I said, Elián González from Cuba, meaning I would assume, or that's what the odds would seem to be, that he would be brought up, would grow up in the Cuban community, in probably Miami, and these 18,000 kids are coming from Latin America. What is the difference between the Latin American Hispanics and the Cubans? Well, I see it changing, but it's still pretty safe to say for now, Elián González, when he grew up, if he were still here in the United States, he would probably vote Republican. He would probably be a Republican. He would probably be supporting himself, not need help from the government, and therefore have no reason to vote for the Democrats. Whereas these 18,000 kids are more likely to grow up and vote for Democrats. Those two are the only explanations I can come up with. Now, if somebody else has an explanation, they are welcome to put it in the comments. And I would also really love somebody, Peter Ducey, I wish I could get this question to him. It would be a great question. Well, we know that Biden himself, he's not going to take a question from a hostile, quote unquote, hostile reporter such as Peter Ducey, but Jen Psaki does, so it would be interesting for Peter Ducey or somebody to ask her what I just asked. Why, on the one hand, all this effort to send Elián González back to Cuba, but no effort to send these 18,000 kids back to their home countries, and even more than that, to invite them to come to this country in the first place? Because I don't see or hear any invitations from our Democratic friends to invite Cubans to come to this country. Only from these other countries, these third, and I don't see them inviting people, come to think of it, from Europe, Scots and Brits and Frenchmen. They only want these people from these third world countries, which I find interesting. Oh, and that is the other thing. Elián González qualifies. You have to be a refugee. That's what is supposed to be happening with these 18,000 kids, and the adults are supposed to be having their cases adjudicated. They are claiming to be refugees, and the determination has to be made whether they really are refugees or just people looking for jobs. They are just people looking for jobs. That's indisputable. They are not fleeing persecution in their home countries for their race or their political beliefs or their religion. But you know who it was? Elián González, or his mother. She qualified as a refugee. She met the qualification, fleeing communist Cuba. Just as my father, throwing a little trivia for you, was fleeing communist. I believe he was in Czechoslovakia at the time, the last place he was before he came to the United States. But he was fleeing communism himself, and that's why he was a legal refugee. I just would love to see the question asked. I would love to see well, I can predict. Watch the Biden administration squirm at this, because the difference is so obvious and the reason for the difference is so obvious. And I hope it will be just as obvious to all of you why I deserve a thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. Got any comments? Comment section below the video. You can put questions, suggestions for future topics. You could visit my food channel, my music channel, or my exciting new hot dog channel. There are links in the description. If you love hot dogs, you're going to love this channel. I just started putting up hot dog recipes. And other than that, I really appreciate, you could subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. But most of all, I really love or appreciate the time that you spend with me. I hope you'll spend more time with me, because I would like to see all of you again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.